If you honestly think the Israeli government is justified in killing people sheltering in UN schools and stuff, trying to get away from the war, you're truly a messed up individual who cannot speak about human rights whatsoever. Uh, the Israeli government murdering kids is not self-defense, and only people that are insane would claim it's self-defense for a government to kill unarmed kids sheltering away from a war.
We begin in the Middle East, where Gaza's health ministry says at least 30 people have been killed in an Israeli strike on a school which was sheltering displaced Palestinians. Israeli missiles hit the Khadija school compound in Deir al-Balah in the centre of Gaza. It had been housing Palestinians who'd been forced to flee their homes since the war began. The Israeli army says the strike was targeting a Hamas command and control centre which was inside the school.
Where's any of the proof that it was a command and control center? The Israeli government loves to lie about the reasons why they're striking buildings. All they have, all they think is they just have to claim Hamas, and that gives them justification to murder kids. And anybody that supports the Israeli government doing this is nothing but a genocidal war crime supporter.
Ambulances brought those killed and injured, including children, to a nearby hospital in the area. Let's hear from Palestinians who were caught up in that strike.
In an instant, rockets dropped on us and we are already wounded. It's only been a couple of months since I came back from Egypt with my daughter, and now my daughter is wounded and was taken to the hospital.
I was sitting in the tent at our neighbours. I heard heavy strikes. I started running. My daughter was in one place and I was in another. I saw people running towards the place that was struck. The people sheltering in Khadija's school are all wounded, and they are innocent, and this should not have happened to them.
What is insane is that the same supporters of the Israeli government will constantly scream how Hamas killed innocent people. And yeah, killing innocent people on either side is a war crime. Hamas has committed some war crimes. But they won't say the same thing about the Israeli government, who has killed over 100,000 civilians, because they think in their insanity that the Israeli government can do whatever it wants. It can kill, uh, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 50,000 kids and still somehow be justified because Hamas. That's just true insanity.
Voices on the ground in Deir al-Balah. Well, further south in the Gaza Strip, the Israeli army's ordered an evacuation of southern parts of Khan Yunis, which had previously been designated a humanitarian zone. This is a map of where Palestinians have been ordered to move. Now, the military says the evacuation was in response to rocket fire. Our correspondent Mark Lowen's been monitoring.
Yeah, rocket fire by a group of people trying to defend themselves against an occupying invader, because the Israeli government occupying military force that has been invading Gaza and the West Bank, and people have the right to defend themselves against an occupying force killing innocent civilians.
Developments from Jerusalem.
Yeah, these were Israeli missiles that fell on that school compound in central Gaza this morning, Rajini, and the BBC has verified footage from the aftermath of the attack that shows that some of the victims were children. I've watched other footage as well that show women and children bloodied, being rushed in ambulances to the nearby hospital. Now, the Gazan Health Ministry has said that at least 30 people have been killed in that attack. The Israeli Defense Forces, as you say, said that it was an attack based on precise intelligence that showed that, in their words, a Hamas command and control center was established and embedded within that school compound, from which...
This reminds me of the airstrike on the aid workers and the Israeli government claiming that there was Hamas in the vehicles and that they had precise intelligence, or the other, well, many of the other buildings where they've struck, they claim they had precise intelligence and that Hamas was there and all they did was kill innocent people. They claim they have precise intelligence. They're just another one of their excuses. They're, all they have to do is claim Hamas, and they think they can get away with murdering innocent people.
Hamas was launching attacks on Israeli soldiers and also stockpiling large quantities of weapons, and that every attempt was made to reduce the number of civilian casualties. But along with the other attacks that have happened around Khan Yunis in southern Gaza today, it's taken the death toll, or the number of those killed today so far in those attacks, to more than 55.
And Mark, you mentioned Khan Yunis. We also mentioned in my introduction about how the Israeli army has an evacuation order for southern areas of Khan Yunis. These are areas, of course, that were previously designated as humanitarian zones, but the army is saying that this is all in response to rocket fire. So what more do we know about what's happening there?
Yeah, well, this is a strip of territory. It's actually called Al-Mawasi. It's on the outskirts of Khan Yunis. It's a coastal strip, which is just 16 square kilometres, 10 square miles. And it had been designated a humanitarian zone, and it's massively overcrowded because, of course, it contains hundreds of thousands of people who had been told by the Israeli army to go there because it was a place of relative safety. I mean, nowhere in Gaza is safe, as you know, and there have been attacks on Al-Mawasi and
Yeah, nowhere in Gaza is safe because the Israeli government is going to attack Palestinians no matter where they're at, or in the West Bank as well, where the Israeli government is attacking Palestinians and killing them.
In recent weeks, so it is a place of relative safety. What the Israeli Defense Forces have now said is that they have adjusted the border of the humanitarian zone in that area because they say that Hamas is operating in a corner of it and launching attacks on Israeli soldiers. So they have basically reduced the size of the humanitarian zone and dropped flyers and sent messages to people telling them to move that area. It's the second time in a week, Regini, that the Israeli Defense Forces have.
It is truly funny how the Israeli government thinks that dropping flyers means they're like absolved from any war crimes. Still, just because you drop flyers in an area and tell people that you're going to kill them doesn't mean you did not commit a war crime, killing innocent civilians.
Have adjusted the boundaries of that humanitarian zone. Last week they did so just before an operation by IDF soldiers there in order to retrieve the bodies of 5 Israeli hostages seized by Hamas on the 7th of October.